This is truly an auspicious day. And what a way to bring in the new year. I want to tell you that I love every one of you. And just the way you are. When I was 18 years old, I arrived at Tiruvannamalai. In those days, they didn't have jet planes. It was a propeller plane. I purchased flowers and a bag of fruit to bring to Ramana. I took the rickshaw to the ashram. It was about 8:30 a.m. I entered the hall, and there was Ramana on his couch, reading his mail. It was after breakfast. I brought the fruit and the flowers over and laid it at his feet. And there was a guardrail in front of him to prevent fanatics from attacking him with love. And then I sat down in front of him. He looked at me and smiled, and I smiled back. I have been to many teachers, many saints, many sages. I was with Nisargadatta, Anandamayi Ma, Papa Ramdas, Neem Karoli Baba, and many others. But never did I meet anyone who exuded such compassion, such love, such bliss as Ramana Mahrashi. There were about 30 people in the room. He looked at me and asked me if I had eaten breakfast. I said no. He spoke some Tamil to the attendant, and the attendant came back with 2 giant leaves, one with fruit and one with some porridge with pepper. After I consumed the food, I just lie down on the floor. I was very tired. It was time for his usual walk. He had arthritis in the legs and could hardly walk at that time. His attendants helped him to get up, and he walked out the door. When he was outside, he said something to his attendants, and his attendants motioned for me to come. He guided me to a little shack that I was going to use while I might stay there. He came inside with me, And I bet you think we spoke about profound subjects. On the contrary, he was a natural man. He was the self of the universe. He asked me how my trip was, and where I was from, what made me come here. Then he said I should rest. So I lay down on the cot and he left. I was awakened about 5 o'clock. It was Ramana again. He came by himself. And he brought me food. Can you imagine that? We spoke briefly. I ate and I slept. The next morning I went into the hall. After the morning chanting, there was breakfast. And everybody sat around just watching Ramana. And he'd go through his routine. He would go through the mail and read it out loud. Talk to some of his devotees. And I just observed everything. His composure never changed. Never did I see such compassion, such love. Then people started to come over to him asking him questions. His replies were very succinct. They weren't like you read in the book. Apparently, what you read in the book is his reply to 3 or 4 people. They condensed it all into one question and answer. But people will usually ask a question or make a statement. If he agreed, he would nod or say yes. That's it. If he didn't, he would offer an explanation in maybe 1 or 2 sentences. There were foreigners at the ashram when I was there, Muslims, Catholic priests, people from all races and all nationalities. The devotees would sit around and say nothing. But the seekers and the disciples would ask questions. When I was there a week or so, 2 of his disciples were sort of jokingly arguing with him about something in Tamil. I asked the interpreter what they were talking about. He said Ramana's couch is covered with lice and he refuses to let us kill them. They climb over his body and his legs and he doesn't care. He even feeds them. We want to exterminate the couch, but he won't let us. So the next day they tricked him. When he went outside for his morning walk, they sprayed his couch with DDT. When he came back, he smelled the couch. And he smiled. He jokingly said, "Someone has tricked me." He never got angry, never got mad. I don't think he knew what the words meant. A couple of weeks later, there was a German lady who had come to the ashram. And apparently she'd made a donation of some kind. But she wasn't happy for some reason. She was complaining to Ramana, and he just kept silent. I again asked the interpreter, what does she want? The interpreter said, she wants her donation back. She wants to go home, back to Germany. So she started to argue. Everything is going on in front of Ramana. She started to argue with one of the managers of the ashram. And Ramana just looked. Then Ramana said in English, give her back a donation and add 50 rupees to it. Which they did, and she left. This was his nature. He never saw anything wrong. He never took anyone out of his love. No matter what they did, who they were, where their ego was, he understood. And loved everyone just the same. We're also celebrating the birth of Jesus this month. He was never born this month, but we're celebrating it anyway. Ramana used to quote from the scriptures. Jesus and Ramana said basically the same things. Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Ramana said, the self is within you. Search for it and find it and awaken. Jesus said, Son, I am with you always, and all that I have is yours. Ramana said, I can never leave you. I am always with you. His compassion never left him. 6 months prior to his leaving his body, I went to Bangalore to see Papa Ramdas. I was informed that he left his body. I went back to Tiruvannamalai, but the crowds had already started to come, thousands of people. So I climbed the hill and went into one of the caves, stayed there for 5 days. When I came down, the crowds were dispersed. He had already been interned. I inquired of his devotee, who saw him last, what were the last words he spoke. The devotee said, while he was leaving his body, a peacock flew on top of the hall and started screeching. And Ramana remarked to his devotee, has anyone fed the peacock yet? And those were the last words he spoke. Now let's talk about you. Think of the problems you believe you have. Think of the nonsense that you go on with every day. Think how furious you become. How you always want to stick up for your rights, as if you had any. The problem is you think. If you would only stop thinking, you say, how can I function if I stop thinking? Very well, thank you. As a matter of fact, you would function much better than you do now. For you will always be taken care of. The universe loves you. It will always supply you with your needs. Forget about other people, what they do and what they don't do. Do not listen to malicious gossip. Be yourself. Understand who you really are. You are the absolute reality. Unconditioned consciousness. Work from that standpoint. Do not work from your problems. Do not get lost in meaningless gossip. Understand your true reality. Be yourself. What Ramana taught was not new. Ramana simply taught the Upanishads. Who am I has been around since time immemorial. If a teacher always tells you they have something new to teach you, be careful. Because there's nothing new under the sun. Ramana simply revised the who am I philosophy and made it simple for people in the 20th century. But what did he teach? He simply taught that you are not the body-mind principle. He simply taught that if you have a problem, do not feel sorry for yourself. Do not go to psychiatrists. Do not condemn yourself. Simply ask yourself, to whom does this problem come? And of course the answer will be, the problem comes to me. Hold on to the me. Follow the me to the source, the substratum of all existence. How do you do that? How do you hold on to me? How do you hold on to I? By simply asking yourself, who am I? What am I? The same thing. What am I? Asking yourself again and again. Who am I? Forget about time. Forget about space. Forget everything. Keep yourself in thinking. When the thoughts come, ask yourself, to whom comes the thoughts? Again, they come to me. Hold on to the me. I think these thoughts. Well then, who am I who thinks these thoughts? Who am I? An easier way to do this, I have found, is to simply say to yourself, I. And you will notice as you do this, the I goes deeper, deeper, deeper within you, into your heart center, right to the source. For Westerners, I have found that saying I seems to be more helpful than who am I. Again, do not look at time. Do not ask yourself, when is something going to happen? A devotee went to Ramana and said, I've been with you for 25 years. Doing who am I? Nothing has happened yet. So Ramana said, try it another 25 and see what happens. Forget about time. Forget about when something is going to happen. Even if nothing happens in this life, you're ahead of the game. For if you've been sincere, and if you've really been working on yourself, you will come back to an environment that is conducive for your realization. And at that time, you may have realization when you're about 12, 13 years old. Because you've earned it. But if you're like most people and go around minding everybody's business and saying, I have no time to do this, I've tried it for 2 hours and it doesn't work, then you keep coming back again and again and again, going through all kinds of experiences, until one day, maybe 10,000 years from now, you may actually get it and start working on yourself diligently, which you should be doing now. What do you do with yourself all day long? Think. From the moment you get out of bed, how does your day go? Do you think of God at all? Do you practice? Or do you think about your affairs and your body? Be honest with yourself. If you're not making any headway in spiritual life, it's because you're not putting anything into it. You have to realize that whatever you see in the world is only a reflection of yourself. If people are mean to you, if they abuse you, it is because you're seeing yourself as those people. In other words, you've got those qualities. I recall going back to the story of Ramana and the German lady. When he gave her back her donation plus some more rupees, the following afternoon, a devotee asked him, Ramana, why did you do that? And Ramana explained, when she gave us a donation, to whom do you think she gave it to? She gave it to herself. For there's only one self. When she took it back, she took it away from herself. When she goes back to Germany, I'm sure she'll have financial problems until she learns that anything you give is only giving to yourself. For there's not 2 or 3 or 4 selves. There's only one self. And this includes everything you do in your life. And the way you look at another person. You're simply seeing yourself. And this is why the only thing I can do for you is to love you. Because I love myself. And you are myself. When I say I love myself, I am not referring to Robert. When I use the word self, I'm referring to infinity, to omnipresence. It includes everything on this universe. So when I love myself, I am obviously loving everyone and everything that exists. I also realize that everything that exists is a projection of my own mind. So I do not identify with the images. I identify with the source, with consciousness, with absolute reality, with ultimate oneness, with nirvana, with emptiness. While I'm talking to you, I realize I'm talking to myself. Because again, there's only one self. If you can only remember that in your dealings with others, whichever way you deal with anyone else, you're doing it to yourself. Can you see now why a person like Ramana could never hate anyone or be angry? It wasn't in his nature. How do you react to life? When a person displeases you, what do? Curse him or her? Become angry, become violent? How do you handle it? How do you react? Be honest with yourself. It's the only way. Start from where you are No human being is perfect. We all make mistakes. Do not feel sorry for yourself, but start from where you are. Where are you? You are consciousness. This is your true nature. Learn to love everything. Learn to see only the good. Realize there's a reason for everything. If a person displeases you, simply look the other way and forget it. Learn to stop your mind from thinking. And you do this by immediately catching yourself when you react to a condition and inquiring within yourself, who is becoming angry? Who feels out of sort? I do. I. Realize you're dealing with the personal I. And all the anger, all the frustration, all the karma, all the samskaras are all attached to that personal I. Consequently, when you get rid of the personal I, everything else will go with it. So don't try to solve your problems. Do not try to become a better person. Do not try to run away from your life. Simply see who it is who is running, who it is who needs to be a better person. Who has all these problems? I. Always I. Hold on to that I with all of your might. But do not concentrate on the I. You concentrate on the source, which is consciousness, God. And everybody asks me over and over again, and I keep telling you, they ask me, how do I hold on to the I? By asking, who am I? We're just saying, I. Automatically, you will notice the I going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper within your heart. And one day you will become free. But you are already free. Why not wake up right now? Why go through anything? Everybody is different. If this appears too difficult for you, if vichara appears hard, then your next best bet is to surrender completely to God. Surrender everything. Your problems, your ego, your body, your mind, your work, your world. Say, here, God, take it. I want no more of this. I am yours. Do with me as you will. Thy will be done. This means you no longer have anything to worry about. If you truly surrender, you will immediately become radiantly happy. For you have given your ego to God. And what's left is God. You have no body. You have no mind. You have no work. You have no problems. It has been your ego all of the time fooling you, making you believe that something is wrong. And you've been playing hide and seek, trying to find God here, there, and everywhere. That was a nice song. When all the time God was within yourself, as yourself. Begin to see the truth. Begin to stand up tall. Become fearless. Become strong. Leave the world alone. It will take care of itself. There's a mysterious power that guides the world to its right destiny. It doesn't need any help from you. If you're meant to do certain work in the world, it will be done. But you have nothing to do with that. It doesn't mean that you have to leave your job or go sit in a cave or give up your life. Wherever you are right now is where you're supposed to be. Just feel, I am not the doer. And your work will go on. Do not be attached to your work. Do not react to any situation or any condition. Be yourself. Focus your attention on consciousness. And your body will go on doing whatever it came here to do. Everything is preordained. Even when I raise my finger like this, it's preordained. Do not be egotistical to believe that you have any power over everybody or anybody, or that you are the doer. It's a privilege to have been born on this earth, and the reason you have been born is to find your real self. Go for it. Do it. And become free. I don't know why I talk so much. It doesn't do any good. I wonder if I know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter anyway.